All right, now we can officially begin.
So just quickly, I'll introduce myself. I'm Lindsay Schmidt. I'm the Senior Vice President of Tourism and Marketing for 1Berkshire. I'm also the Regional Tourism Council Director. In that role, I work with 15 other regional tourism districts throughout the state. We're uniquely positioned to talk about tourism and do tourism promotion through that lens. That's it on that slide. And then just quickly, who's 1Berkshire? I feel like most of you who are on this call today are here because you're members, so you sort of know who 1Berkshire is and what we do. So I'd really like to start by reading to you our purpose. We've sort of newly honed in on this, and I think it really clarifies a lot of the work that we do. So that is, our purpose is to simultaneously preserve, position, and promote Berkshire County's unique sense of place in order to cultivate thriving businesses and nonprofits, attract vibrant visitors, and engage diverse residents who contribute to the vitality and strength of our region. And so sort of taking that purpose through a lens as the Regional Tourism Council, and the work that this team you'll be hearing from today, it sort of has uniquely positioned us to be sort of the experts on marketing the Berkshires. And we do that on a daily basis. We sort of live and breathe it. And we've also created a variety of tools to help you sort of help us amplify that message. And so that's, in thinking about that work that we do, and I've been in this role for about 14 years, and we have been selling advertising and doing marketing all along. And we have sort of a core group of members who are actively engaged in the marketing and advertising work that we do. But we still have so many members who aren't taking advantage of what we have created. And so it sort of dawned on us that maybe, an info session would make a lot of sense, allowing us to get to some members who hadn't thought about utilizing the tools that we have created. And so the idea for that was sort of born. And so you are here at the inaugural education session. So bear with us as this is sort of new to us. Again, like I said, we do live and breathe this. We just don't speak about it to a group all the time. And I think partially that's something that has been missing. I think 1Berkshire does a great job of telling everyone else's story, telling the Berkshire story, telling the businesses' stories. And we're starting to realize that we have to start telling our own story better so that there is clarity around the work that we do. So I think this session will go a long way in helping tell our story, as well as talk about how we tell the Berkshire story and how you all can be part of amplifying that message and also promoting your business. So with that, I am going to kick it over to the team. Like I said, they're doing the heavy lift on this, and want to thank them all for the work that they've put in. And hopefully all of you who are joining today leave with a lot of great ideas, hopefully some questions, and we're here to answer those, just to start a dialogue back and forth between the 1Berkshire marketing team and your own business to further bring customers to your door. So with that, I will kick it over to the team.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Nelson, and I am the Director of Marketing here at 1Berkshire. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Alabozic. I'm the Digital Marketing Associate.
Good morning. I'm Kathleen King. I'm the marketing coordinator for our team.
Morning, I'm Kara Vermeulen. I'm the advertising account executive.
Okay, so it's my pleasure to speak to you first. And we have a lot of different kinds of professionals on the call with us today. Thank you so much for joining. As Lindsay said, this is our first time doing this. So we're just going to spend a couple of minutes super high level to make sure that we're all on the same page, using some of the same vocabulary. One of the first things to consider when you're thinking about your advertising marketing campaigns is, who is your audience? And once you've figured out who your audience is, who it is that you want to engage with your website, your social media, purchase your product, your goods, engage with your experiences that you're selling, you can think about how to capture their awareness. And hopefully when you capture their awareness, you get new leads, you develop new repeat patrons. This is where relationships start to come in. Once you have captured their awareness, you've piqued their interest, you've tapped into their desire. Hopefully you foster loyalty with them as well. And this is where the value of that relationship comes in. And when you know that your advertising and marketing is really being successful, when you've met those needs, desires, you've improved the quality of life of your specific audience. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about how 1Berkshire is doing this and how we hope to help you do that as well. And please forgive me as I work with multiple screens. Oh, and we have another person coming in. Okay. So to talk about 1Berkshire's audience and who we're trying to reach, and to let you know a little bit about our advertising tactics, I just want to start with our mission. Lindsay read our purpose earlier, which was great. So 1Berkshire's mission is to advance Berkshire County's economy by advocating for the regional business community and attracting active visitors, diverse residents, and thriving businesses. It's important to remember that we are the Regional Tourism Council of the Berkshires. So we represent the whole county at the state level. And we actually receive tourism grant dollars to do this work. I think it's helpful to think of 1Berkshire. The way I like to describe it is like there's three main components about who we are and what we do. We are a member service organization. We cannot do our work without our membership. Those dues directly go into funding the work that we do. We have an economic development team that is working very diligently in that business to business sector, providing a lot of resources, helping to network, helping entrepreneurs connect, problem solve. If you ever need those resources, many of those programs are available for free. Go to 1berkshire.com to learn more. And then there's a third component, which is what we're here to discuss today, which is marketing and specifically promotion of the region. 1Berkshire is the steward of the Berkshire brand. And our sole mission on our team is to promote the Berkshire story. And you all, our entire membership, as well as non-members, are part of that story. You're part of what provides the specificity, the detail, the richness to that story. You help us tell the Berkshire story simply by being the wonderful organizations and institutions and businesses that you are. And you benefit from our marketing efforts, whether or not you ever purchase an ad. We have a lot of campaigns. As you might imagine, the Berkshires is really beautiful. We tell in a picture tells a really great story. And so by being an active member, letting us know what you're up to, providing really rich imagery for us to use in those campaigns, we're able to hopefully capture the awareness and the interest of people who've expressed interest in coming here. They'll see all of the wonderful things there are to do, and they'll come here and engage with your business. When you purchase an ad with us, which we're going to talk in detail a little bit, you're able to make a slightly closer connection with those people by getting them to directly click through, hopefully, to your website. So a little bit about our grant that we receive. We have to apply for this grant every year. It is not promised. The dollars are typically somewhere in the $350,000 to $500,000 range. This year it was just shy of $400,000, which sounds like a lot of money. It is in some perspectives. It is a fraction of what many of the other RTCs receive. And it is even a smaller fraction compared to what someplace like New York State invests in tourism. So at 1Berkshire, we try really hard to be smart with our advertising dollars, to be really careful with them and to maximize their reach. We want to get the biggest bang for our buck. One of the ways that we do this is we work with a media buyer. If you're not familiar with media buyers, they're basically marketing professionals who can purchase advertising time and space to help us sell our product. In this situation, we're selling the Berkshire story, the Berkshire experience, with your help. One of the things to note about this, for example, If we have to pay $5,000 for a specific type of campaign, like an e-communication, if you were to purchase that on your own, $5,000 might be a pretty significant chunk of change from your budget. By turning that into a cooperative opportunity, which we'll discuss momentarily, it would allow you to buy into that at maybe for $500-600, and you get to be a part of that campaign. So that's just one example of how we try to pass on the savings to you. So moving on. So this is just a very simplified version of the marketing funnel. We're at the very top where we're there in that awareness area. And the reason that we're there, it has to do with the getting the biggest bang for our buck. The more specific your KPI, your key performance indicator is, the more you have to pay, like per engagement, basically. So we want to cast the widest net possible. There's so much to do in the Berkshires that we want to make sure that whether you're interested in culture or the outdoors or food or quaint New England main streets, that we are able to tell that whole story, that you can have all of those things. And hopefully you may come for one activity and then do a whole bunch of others once you're here and you see all of the wonderful things that there are to do. You can see the other parts of the marketing funnel. There's the interest, desire, which hopefully leads to action, where people actually engage, they buy that ticket, they book that hotel room. Hopefully they have a great experience, they want to come back, and they become a brand advocate for you by telling others about their wonderful experience. So we stay up at that top part of the funnel. And we do this, there is some specificity to it. Our media buyer helps us target people who have already expressed interest in visiting this area of New England, who have expressed interest in doing the kinds of things that we offer here in the Berkshires. And so that can maximize the success of our campaigns because they're being put in front of people who are more likely to click on them. We're not wasting money trying to get people who really want to go to Napa Valley to come to New England instead. We're focused on people who have already said, I like these things, I like this area of the country, this is where I want to be. The other thing our media buyer helps us do is target specific demographics that we want to engage with. We are always looking to bring younger travelers to the Berkshires. So young professionals, families, maybe middle-aged professionals as well. And then of course, we love our legacy visitors, people who have perhaps been coming their whole life. We want them to continue to come. We hope to make new legacy visitors by attracting those younger demographics. And these are some of the people that you would have a chance to be in front of when you choose to take part in our advertising campaigns. Sometimes we hear people say, I don't ever see any advertising campaigns. You must not be doing anything. And one thing that it's helpful to remember is that our grant stipulates that we have to advertise at a minimum 50 miles outside of Berkshire County. And the reason for that is we're trying to target people who aren't here yet. We don't get grant dollars to target people already in county. It's all about bringing people to the Berkshires. So that's how we see our role. We get them here, we capture their interest, bring them here, and then hopefully you help get them through your doors. And I like to remember that we all benefit from one another's marketing campaigns. For example, if the Clark has a great exhibit, they do an ad campaign, people come, they're probably going to eat at a restaurant, they're hopefully going to go for a hike, they hopefully will go hiking, they'll fill up their car with gas, they'll stay overnight somewhere. And so this is really like an advertising ecosystem that is helping to feed itself. And so, yeah, if there's anything that I've left out that my colleagues want to add, now is a good time to do so. But otherwise, I'm going to stop talking and pass the baton to Amanda.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Right.
So I'm going to briefly talk about the value of an impression and how we define success. As Elizabeth mentioned, since we're focused on the top of the marketing funnel, our goal is to build awareness, and we do that through impressions. Building awareness means it's essential to saturate the audience through overall exposure to the brand. In ad campaigns, we focus on single key performance indicators, or KPIs, which for us is impressions. with click-through rates serving as a secondary measure. Throughout the presentation, you'll hear us reference impressions quite a bit as it directly relates to how we measure success at 1Berkshire. In marketing, we often reference the rule of 7, which suggests that a potential customer needs to encounter a message at least 7 times before taking the next step, such as clicking through to a site or making a purchase. This rule is rooted in the idea that repeated exposure helps build familiarity, trust, and credibility with a brand. In other words, seeing a brand multiple times leads to being noticed, remembered, and familiar with it, ultimately driving that action. Impressions are a crucial metric in marketing because they show how many potential customers have seen a piece of content. For more impressions, the more impressions a content receives, the overall rise in profile for the Berkshire's brand. Plus, impressions are one of the most cost-effective ways to reach a large audience of interested consumers. Just in fiscal year 2024, 1Berkshire generated over 430 million impressions across our channels. And I stress that because that's a big number. When you advertise with 1Berkshire, you're not just promoting your business, you're contributing to the cumulative brand of the entire region. Your efforts help strengthen the visibility and reputation of the Berkshires as a whole, benefiting everyone involved. You can go ahead to the next slide. Thank you. At 1Berkshire, we apply that rule of 7 through as many channels as possible to raise awareness of our members within targeted audiences. As I just mentioned, in FY24, we achieved over 430 million impressions across both our Visit the Berkshires and 1Berkshire channels throughout a variety of digital tactics. This includes targeted advertising across multiple social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, X or Twitter, and YouTube. And here's one of my shameless plugs. Make sure you're following us on all of our Visit the Berkshires and 1Berkshire social media channels. Social media posts are a member benefit with no additional cost. And don't forget to tag us in your posts and use the hashtag #InTheBerkshires, all one word, to connect your posts to the Berkshire branding and the Berkshire story as a whole.
Also on Instagram, if you want to be a collaborator, that almost instantly gets you on our feed. So they're really pushing that out a lot more. So beautiful photo, make us a collaborator, and it automatically will show on the Visit the Berkshires page.
Yeah, and make your photo visible to all of our followers, which then opens you up to a whole other range of followers, which is just a great benefit. Some other strategies that we use include email marketing through both local and visitor subscriber lists, which are self opt-in. We also leverage lead generation campaigns and paid social advertising, where we partner with media buyers to expand our subscriber base with highly targeted placements. Additionally, we collaborate with media buyers on the co-op emails to reach broader audiences in key regions like Boston and New York City. We are also consistently working on SEM and SEO to optimize our websites and ensure our content is easy to find, effective, at the top of all searches, and the most up-to-date. Okay, and then I am going to pass it off now to Kara.
So all of that leads to the advertising piece, which is the tourism dollars from the state, as Elizabeth mentioned, are the grant. And that grant is used to promote and market the Berkshires, and it creates brand awareness. And that 1B marketing brings them to the Berkshires. Your advertising then brings them through your door. So access to the effective tools to maximize your reach to visitors and residents are e-blasts, web ads, co-ops, digital brochures, Berkshire brochures, and the official guide. And those are just some of the options. The targeted access has the targeted access to the consumers who have expressed interest in the Berkshires and are likely to engage was just mentioned and explained by Amanda. And what that does is the tools bring the people to the website. They bring the attraction to the 1Berkshire and berkshires.com, and it's a targeted group, and therefore we hand you a targeted group. The ads are then a fraction of the cost of purchasing them independently. So the next thing is the media kit. Elizabeth, if you could show us that. And on the bottom, you can see there's tabs. There's Q4, Q1. Obviously, we're in Q4. So just to give you an idea how this works, it looks a little intimidating, but it really isn't. Any blasts that start with 1B, like on line 4 and 5, those are business to business e-blasts. And if you run across, you can see how many people they go to, the specs, the send dates, when Amanda would need all of the contents and collaterals for the ads, and then the open rates are on there also. And if you look at the 31.5% open rate, that's huge and far above industry standards. Any blasts listed under Berkshire e-News are visitor targeted, and there are 2 visitor e-blasts and 2 business blasts per month, each month throughout the year. And then you can see where the cursor is that there's a themed e-blast. These are sprinkled throughout the year also. There's also 4 seasonal e-blasts that are on the calendar, and these are all visitor targeted e-blasts. And as you can see, some of them are highlighted blue. The blue highlighting, if you click on it, it will take you to a recent example of what the e-blast looks like. And here's the Winter Wonderland that we're. Some of them look like advertorials. Some of them will look like ads. This one looks like an advertorial. It always contains a header on the top and a little edit about what the blast is for, and to drive people to look at the Berkshires.
Here, if I can just pop in,
Sure.
thank you for making that point about some of them being advertorial as opposed to, a JPEG ad that you would design. And, they're both available to you depending on the placement. And we make these determinations based off of what we have seen perform best. We also, by the way, on some of these, we are constantly generating content about the Berkshires. And our members, each one of these stories links to a blog post in which anywhere from 5 or 6 to a dozen members are included as sort of examples of whatever the topic is.
And there is a link on each of these ads.
Oh, yes. Yeah, each ad clicks off.
And there's a limit also. So there's not going to be 50 ads in one. There's a limit. I believe that's listed on there. Yeah, the number of spots. I am happy to have a call with anybody to walk through this media kit because it can be a little intimidating. I can help you find the right opportunities for your business. We also have web ads that is on berkshires.org and 1berkshire.com. Those are based on availability and they're 30-day minimums. And as Amanda said, the number of eyeballs that are on the berkshires.org website for visitors is huge. It's huge. It's over 1 million per year. Also, we have, there are packages that I can help you create, and we can send you some more information about. There's packages for visitors, if that's who you're trying to reach. There's packages for business to business, and then there's combination packages. And we can customize it to meet your budget and your advertising schedule, depending on what you have going on your calendars. Right now, we're on the close to the deadline for November and December e-blasts, if anyone is interested in those. We have the winter digital brochure that is coming up. That is a great vehicle. It is up on the website. It gets sent out. It's promoted on our social platforms. but it stays out for months. So it's in the shoulder season. So anybody that's planning a trip for the winter or early spring, they will have access to this, and your ad will be within that. That's a great vehicle. And also the biggest print publication we do is called the Official Guide to the Berkshires. I think, Elizabeth, do you have the visual version of that we
I
can?
do. I'm probably tiny because I'm
Okay.
sharing my screen, but yeah, this is the printed piece. You're in this simply by being a member. If you are at least a core member, you are in here. If you're an enhanced member, you get a larger listing. So you're in this whether you pay extra or not. But if you choose to pay extra, then you get to have, you know, an ad that's specifically about you or whatever it is you want to focus on. And those ad dollars help us produce this. As you might imagine, it's extremely expensive to produce the guide, but people still love it. We run out of them almost every year. We mail these all over the country. People submit requests. Members can get cases of these to put out. We contract with Berkshire Brochure Display to keep visitor racks of brochures filled with these. So, you know, it's a member benefit, but if you want to increase your exposure, an ad in this is a good way to do it.
And those ads come in various sizes that fit different budgets. There is an early bird discount that ends in 2 weeks on November 13th. So if you are interested in possibly advertising within the guide, please email me, or we can send you some more information about that, and then you can take advantage of the 10% discount. The final thing is our new media kit. It will be out in 2025 at our annual meeting in December. So if you are thinking about 2025, we will have that out to you very soon. And that is what I have.
Okay, so now I'm going to discuss a little bit of how to put this marketing knowledge to work. And Kara touched on it a little bit more, but we're gonna go into a broad overview of each option. But when you are ready to dive in deeper, as Kara mentioned, Kara or anyone on the marketing team would be happy to chat with you about these details. Let's start with e-communications. So each month we send out anywhere from 4 to 10 e-blasts to our different audiences. Our visitor-focused audiences receive a monthly e-newsletter packed with articles, blogs, and announcements. There's a seasonal e-blast highlighting each must-see attraction and travel tips for each of the seasons. We also have themed e-blasts covering topics like romantic getaways, perfect wedding planning, and bucket list adventures. These e-blasts reach anywhere from 60,000 to 72,000 self-subscribers each. In these pay-to-play opportunities, you can be featured with a display ad, a text banner, or advertorial style ad, depending on the specific e-blast type. For our local businesses and residents, we send out the 1B happenings and 1B e-news that provides a snapshot of important announcements, tips, information, and local events. This goes out to over 5,000 self-subscribers each month. Each of these e-blasts offer display ads and text ad options. Because our in-house subscriber lists are all opt-in, our audiences are saying that they're really interested in the information that we're putting out, which leads to really high open rates. As Kara mentioned, we average between 25 and 35% for open rates, which is above industry standard. For our websites, we have a variety of advertising opportunities designed to meet your specific goals. Our visitor-centric site, berkshires.org, offers 8 different ad opportunities to highlight your business, special deals, member listings, events, and more. Berkshires.org offers 100,000 monthly sessions with 90,000 impressions for enhanced member listings and 55,000 monthly ad impressions. Advertising here means that your message will be seen on the official tourism website for the region, the first place visitors look when searching for the Berkshires. And then we have 1Berkshire.com, our site focused on local businesses and residents, which sees over 7,000 monthly sessions. This site offers 3 ad types that range for all budgets and caters to a B2B audience. In FY24, we achieved over 1.1 million impressions on 1Berkshire.com, showcasing the extensive reach your ad can have in front of a local audience of businesses, entrepreneurs, and residents. As I mentioned earlier, we collaborate with media buyers to acquire lists of visitors interested in the Berkshires. One way we use these lists is through our co-op emails. These are shared e-blasts members contribute to a campaign that our team creates, which is then sent to broad audiences in the Boston and New York City areas. These advertorial style e-blasts can reach anywhere from 60,000 to 225,000 inboxes, making them fantastic for raising awareness in different markets. Plus, by participating in these e-blasts, you're helping to strengthen the Berkshire brand overall. We also produce several large-scale print advertising pieces each year, as was previously mentioned, the official guide to the Berkshires and our Berkshire brochure. Advertising in these print pieces receives over 150,000 impressions annually, thanks to the 60,000 printed copies and over 2.7 million e-communications they're featured in. You might be thinking, well, wow, these all sound great. And of course, we all completely agree with you. And if you have that information you want to put out there, we have the way to do it. Let us work with you to explore these options in more detail and tailor your ads to meet your specific needs and goals. You can go to the next slide, please. So here are just a few examples of the opportunities that we touched on. On the left, you'll see one of our 1B e-communications with participating display ads, which is sent to our local business and resident subscriber list. If you're not already receiving these newsletters as a member, please let me know. I can sign you up, or you can go right on 1Berkshire.com and subscribe yourself. But we put those out to at least 2 of those e-blasts go out a month. Next up is a scroll of the homepage of berkshires.org, which features a display, banner, and footer ads. All our visitor-centered campaigns link back to berkshires.org. So your ads benefit from the additional impressions generated through this traffic. And lastly, on the right, we have a co-op e-blast. These emails are sent out through our media buyers to the targeted lists in both Boston and New York City markets. So these are just a few examples of the extensive reach we have to promote both your business and the Berkshires as a whole. You can find more examples on our media schedule, as Kara and Elizabeth demonstrated. But of course, we're always happy to send you specific examples directly if you just send us an email and let us know.
All right, thank you, Amanda. So just a quick recap, and then we'll do some questions. We're the official RTC. You know, this is what we're here to do: steward the Berkshire brand, tell the Berkshire story, to support you, promote you. Our role is to amplify. So really, the more that you can let us know what you're up to, that you can share your own images, put your events on our calendars, you know, the better that we can represent you and what's going on in the Berkshires. We haven't really talked about our PR program, but we have a really robust PR program. We work with professionals to help get, you know, placements in the New York Times and the Boston Globe and the Washington Post and many, many travel blogs. And when we get contacted by a reporter, they say, what's going on? If we have you top of mind, it's so much easier to share with reporters what's going on. So help us amplify what you're up to by just keeping us informed. Our ads are a cost-effective tool. We realize that most of us have very small marketing budgets. Some of us don't really even have a budget at all. But if you have an event, you have an initiative, you want to try something out, you know, contact us, talk to us, tell us who you're trying to reach, what you're trying to spread the word about. And if we can help you, we most certainly will. We are here to help. we're all very busy, and I'd say that sort of universally, you as well as here at 1Berkshire, and yet we can find some time to Zoom one-on-one. If you have a question, we'll email you if you're curious about metrics. So just let us know. We're here. And this popped into my head. I don't know if I said it earlier. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Did that stop sharing? Okay, thank you. We have to match our grant. Did I talk about this? Okay, I'll just say it again quickly. We're required by our grant to match it dollar for dollar. So that 400,000 that we got from the state, we have to raise $400,000 this year in order to keep that money. We have to return it. So our marketing efforts are part of that program, or part of that grant requirement. So whether or not you can participate, it's just something I think to just know as a member, and as a member of the community, sort of how things work. Okay, so, oh, thanks Jenny for joining. So she's hopping off. I'm gonna move over to questions. I would like to see, we have somebody whose name is E080436. If you don't mind chatting us your name, just so that we know who attended, that would be really, really helpful. And I don't believe that any questions have come in. If something pops up, please put that in the chat. But I do have a couple of things that came in before we started. So somebody asked, like, where do I start? So the first thing, of course, is to be a member, which I think almost all of you are. Make sure your membership is in good standing. Unfortunately, as much as we want to help, we're not allowed to sell advertising if your dues have not been paid. Meet with Kara. She's here. She's an expert. She can really help you figure out what it is that would meet your need, determine your audience, and she can work with you basically almost on any budget. So reach out to her. Would any of my colleagues like to add to that? Where do I start?
Yeah, I think just starting the conversation with one of us, reaching out to Kara and having that conversation open the door, and then going from there is the great way to start.
Okay, great. So moving along, we're making really good time, which is excellent. Why do I have to pay for advertising if I'm already a member? So hopefully this question's sort of been answered by today's presentation already. There's quite a bit of benefit that you get simply by paying your membership dues. But any of these extra ads that allow you to really put yourself in what you're selling, front and center in any of these placements, and allow people to click off directly onto your website, that's what you're paying for. You're paying to be a part of the marketing channels that we've already engaged and brought together. Also, there's a lot of staff time that goes into collecting the assets and actually like building the e-blast or coordinating with the media buyers. So that's where a lot of those funds go. It's also, it's important to note that we're one of the only businesses that want to get people off of our website as fast as possible and onto yours. So we do all of this work to bring people to berkshires.org and 1berkshire.com, but mostly berkshires.org, help them find something cool and interesting and click off onto somebody else's website to actually book a ticket, buy a product. And so your ads help us do that. I'm going to come back to that question. Thank you, Ruben. One second. Oh, can you make our ad for us? And a question just about the specs. Unfortunately, we do not have a full-time graphic designer on staff. There is a $75 design fee if you want a little bit of assistance. So you can talk to us about that. Maybe we can help a little bit, such as you give us a photo and a logo. We put something together. We do have a list of graphic designers that we can connect you with. A lot of our ads are advertorial, so you don't even need a designer. You just need to write some interesting copy, which we can help edit. We can do that and provide your image and sometimes your logo, and we'll put things together for you. The specs are to help make sure that there's some consistency in our brand, this Berkshire brand that we are stewarding, and to make sure that things like actually look good in the channel that they're going out in. Okay, so do you offer services to help us connect with local events that we may not know about. The first thing that comes to my mind is signing up for our e-communications if you haven't already, because we include a lot of events there. Check out our event calendars on 1Berkshire.com. That event calendar is mostly focused on the B2B community, residents, locals, and businesses. And then on berkshires.org, that calendar is pretty massive, but you can search by week or month or even by venue or location or host, and find events that way. You can also just email us and say, I'm thinking about, I want to be involved in something like this, what comes to mind, and we can help with that.
And also as a member, you do have access to putting your own events on both of those calendars. So Kathleen, who is manning the tech for us today, is in charge of the events calendar, and she probably spends 50% of her time putting up all of the amazing events that are going on in Berkshire County. So if you do have something, again, probably best to email her directly and we'll make sure it gets on the correct event calendar. And like Elizabeth says, that gets pushed out frequently. And it's certainly one of the top visited pages on our website. So it's a great member benefit and an easy way to, promote what you're doing, and also then search what other people are doing.
If you're looking to take part in an event, we can potentially help guide you to who you would need to contact to learn about that. So if that's the angle of this question you're going for, there is that as well. And the economic development team is often really, really good about figuring out who would be good to connect with. So if you're like, I'm having trouble reaching this particular demographic or this audience, or I'm not even sure who that audience should be, sometimes meeting with them is really useful. They do free consultations. So that's another resource that we provide. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I don't have to keep talking. We're going to end 15 minutes early, which is great. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who came and stayed for the whole time, Amanda is going to be in touch with you. We're also going to send out a very brief survey to give us a little bit of feedback about today. If this was helpful, let us know. If there was something that you wish that we'd covered, let us know that as well, so that if we offer another one of these, we'll have your feedback to take into consideration.
And I think just, in closing, just remembering sort of 1Berkshire is here to serve this wonderful community that we all are part of, and want to make sure other people know that what's going on here, sort of serving as the connective tissue. So even if it's not in the realm of marketing, I know we've mentioned this before, certainly utilize us as if you're looking to contact anyone. Most likely someone on our team will be able to help with that. I think that that role that we have is really important. As we all know, with 30 towns and 2 cities, it's sometimes hard to navigate across the county, whether it's professionally or as a visitor. And so our role is really to help ease the path in that. So again, just want to say thank you to all of you who came today. I wish I could see more of your faces, but I appreciate you taking the time out on this Monday morning to join us. And hopefully we will be doing more of these sessions. So in the information that we're sending out, we'll probably try and glean what would be of interest to you. We haven't done a lot of education sessions since the pandemic has ended, and I think we'd like to get back to that, making sure our members are getting even more value from their membership dollars. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So watch for the follow-up email. There'll be some helpful links in there, and we're going to be sharing this video. So if you want to share it with someone, you want to watch it again, it'll be available. Kara, Amanda, Kathleen, anything before we wrap up?
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks, everyone.